Welcome to NFL Nexus, the place where we go beyond the box score to break down the real strategy behind the NFL headlines. Today, we are putting one of the most talked about and, let's be honest, most polarizing teams in the league right under the microscope, the Dallas Cowboys. Now, on the surface, their offseason might have seemed a little quiet, but when you look closer, you start to see a pattern. You see a series of calculated, interconnected decisions that tell a much bigger story. This wasn't just about plugging a few holes. No, this was about laying the foundation for a total comeback. We're going to deconstruct their entire offseason blueprint piece by piece to uncover what looks like a master plan for redemption that has its eyes set firmly on 2026. Okay, so to really get what they did, you first have to understand the immense pressure cooker they were in. This wasn't just another losing season. This was a team absolutely loaded with Pro Bowl talent that just completely fell apart. You can just imagine how the fan base felt, one of the most passionate in all of professional sports. They were furious. The media was relentless. And the heat on owner Jerry Jones, the front office, the coaching staff, it was hitting a boiling point. So this offseason, it wasn't about just tinkering around the edges. It was about survival. It was about proving to everyone that they actually had a real coherent plan. What we're about to show you is a precise, multi-part blueprint designed to turn this entire ship around. So as we get into the nitty-gritty, just remember that context. And hey, before we dive in, if you love this kind of deep NFL strategy, do us a huge favor. Make sure you're subscribed to NFL Nexus, hit that like button, and get your keyboards ready to drop your own analysis in the comments. We want to hear it. All right, here's how we're going to break this all down for you. First, we got to go back to the scene of the crime, right? We have to revisit that season to forget that forced this whole organizational rethink in the first place. Then, we're going to dissect 3 critical decisions that on the surface look totally separate but are actually deeply connected. We'll see how they protected their franchise quarterback, how they fortified the sideline by playing defense against a bitter rival, and then how they might be getting ready to raid that exact same rival. And finally, we'll pull the camera back, connect all those dots, and reveal the full 2026 blueprint. Let's get into it. Okay, so every great comeback story needs a rock bottom. And for the 2025 Cowboys, it was ugly. To really appreciate the subtle chess moves they're making right now, we have to understand the wreckage they are clawing their way out of. So let's turn back the clock just a little bit to a season that started with legitimate Super Bowl hopes and ended in a total, complete failure that shook this entire organization right to its core. Underachieved, that might be the nicest way you could possibly put it. Think about it. You have a franchise quarterback, Dak Prescott, playing at an absolutely elite Pro Bowl level. The guy threw for over 4,500 yards and 30 touchdowns. I mean, those are numbers that should have a team cruising into the postseason. But for the second year in a row, they were sitting at home in January, watching the playoffs on TV like the rest of us. This wasn't just bad luck. It wasn't a fluke. It was a giant, flashing, neon red light that the problem wasn't your quarterback. Something else, something much deeper inside the team's DNA was just fundamentally broken. This slide right here, this tells the whole story. A 7-9-1 record is bad enough for a team with that much talent on the roster. But look closer. It's how it happened that's so damning. This team was right there, in the playoff hunt late in the year, and then they just completely fell off a cliff. They lost 4 of their last 5 games. The wheels didn't just get wobbly, they flew right off. And all of this happened under a first-year head coach, Brian Schottenheimer, who was supposed to be the new voice, the guy to provide a spark. Instead, the team just sputtered out. This collapse, this absolute freefall, is what created that intense pressure we talked about. This is the why behind every single move we're about to show you. Okay, so when your house is burning down, what's rule number 1? You save your most valuable possessions. You don't worry about the couch, you grab the irreplaceable stuff. Well, for the Dallas Cowboys, even with stars like CeeDee Lamb and Micah Parsons, their single most valuable asset, without any question, is quarterback Dak Prescott. The success or failure of this entire franchise rests on his shoulders. So it should come as absolutely no surprise that their very first big move of the offseason was all about one thing: building a fortress around number 4. Keeping him clean, keeping him upright, that was priority number 1, 2, and 3. So what was this big move? Was it a splashy, headline-grabbing superstar? Nope, and that's exactly what makes it so smart. They zeroed in on a guy named TJ Bass. This is a player who went undrafted. He had to fight tooth and nail just to make the team. But over 2 seasons, he proved he was more than just a camp body. He was a legitimate NFL player. An NFL season is a brutal war of attrition, and starters get hurt. And when guys like future Hall of Famer Zach Martin or Pro Bowler Tyler Smith went down with an injury, Bass stepped right in without missing a beat. And he didn't just fill a spot, he played at an incredibly high level. Get this, in his 5 starts last season, he ranked fourth among all offensive linemen in the entire league with just 4 pressures allowed. That is elite stuff. He became this indispensable, crucial depth piece, the exact kind of player that winning teams are built on. But there was a catch. His cheap rookie deal was up, and he was about to become a restricted free agent. So what in the world is a restricted free agent? For those of you who don't spend your weekends reading the NFL's collective bargaining agreement, it's basically a system that gives the original team a huge advantage. It's not a true free-for-all like you see with veteran players. The league created this rule specifically to reward teams for finding and developing young talent, just like the Cowboys did with TJ Bass. It means the Cowboys hold all the cards here. They have near total control over his future, and it prevents another team from just swooping in and stealing away a player they've invested so much time in coaching into. Now, the Cowboys had a few options, a few different tenders they could have used, but they picked the most aggressive one you can for a guard, the second-round tender. This is a massive strategic play. It's like putting up a giant neon sign for the other 31 teams that says, "Don't even think about it." They're basically declaring, we value this player so much that if you try to sign him, the price isn't just a big contract. The price is one of your most valuable assets, a second-round draft pick. And no GM is going to trade what is likely a future starter for a backup guard, no matter how good he is. It's what you'd call a poison pill strategy. It makes him virtually untouchable. And let's talk about the money here. $5.8 million for 1 year. This isn't just a number on a balance sheet. It is a massive statement of intent. Now, to put that in perspective, TJ Bass's entire first contract, a 3-year deal, was worth a total of about $2.7 million. So with this one single tender, he's making more than double his entire career earnings in 1 season. It's a life-changing amount of money for him, but it also sends a powerful message to Bass that we value you, and it tells the rest of the league, this is how serious we are about protecting our quarterback. And this report from ESPN's Jeremy Fowler just confirms it all. This wasn't some minor piece of paperwork. This was the first pillar of their entire offseason blueprint being slammed down on the table. Secure your own assets first. Before you go shopping for new toys, you make sure your own house is in order. You lock down valuable homegrown talent, a guy you literally found in the undrafted bargain bin and developed into a key piece. You do not let that guy just walk out the door for nothing. It's a smart foundational move. Now, before we get to the next part of this Cowboys blueprint, just a quick note. We make these deep dives for you, the fans, because we absolutely love digging into the strategy of the game. If you'd like to support NFL Nexus and help us keep making content like this, check out our custom coloring books. They're perfect for kids, grandkids, and hey, even for adults. You can grab them using the link in the description or just by scanning the QR code on your screen right now. All right. So with a key player on offense secured, the Cowboys then turn their focus to the sideline, because a great blueprint isn't just about the X's and O's on the field, it's about the minds drawing them up. This brings us to the second pillar of their plan, stabilize your leadership. And boy, was that principle put to the test right away when their biggest, most hated rival, the Philadelphia Eagles, came calling. Anyone who follows this league knows the NFC East is basically a war zone. And the Cowboys-Eagles rivalry, that's the main event. This isn't just about the 2 games they play each year. No, this is a 365-day-a-year chess match. These 2 organizations are always watching each other, always looking for any weakness, any small advantage they can possibly get. In this offseason, that chess match got very real, and it all played out over a phone call between the 2 head coaches. You have to put yourself in Brian Schottenheimer's shoes here. This was a critical moment. Remember, he's just coming off that disastrous 7-9-1 first year. He desperately needs things to be stable. He needs continuity going into year 2 to prove he's the right guy for this job. The absolute last thing he can afford is to rip up his entire offensive system and start from scratch. So the idea of losing his offensive coordinator, Clayton Adams, the guy who knows his playbook inside and out, that was a complete non-starter. And losing him to the Eagles of all teams, unthinkable. That would be like willingly handing over your entire playbook, all your tendencies, all your strategic secrets to your sworn enemy. And Schottenheimer's response, which he later told the media about, is it's amazing. Don't bother, buddy. I'm going to have to deny you on that one. There was no let me think about it. No, I'll get back to you. It was an instant, blunt, and frankly, a pretty disrespectful shutdown. It was a direct message from one head coach to another. Our coaches are off limits, and you are crazy to even ask. This move perfectly shows that second pillar of the blueprint. Protect your leadership, maintain your stability, and slam the door right in your rival's face. So after slamming the door on the Eagles, the Cowboys weren't just going to sit back and play defense. The next phase of this blueprint involves completely flipping the script. Now that they've protected their own house, a very interesting rumor suggests they're getting ready to go raid their rivals. It's time to shift from defense to offense and potentially poach a key player right from the heart of Philadelphia's defense. And this is where you really start to see the master plan taking shape. This isn't just a random series of events anymore. You can see a clear pattern of engagement with their number one rival. It's a classic two-pronged attack. Step 1, build your wall. Defend your assets, protect your secrets. Step 2, you pivot, go on the offensive, and you actively target your opponent's key people. And it looks like the Cowboys have a very specific player in mind for this. According to a report from longtime Cowboys insider Clarence Hill Jr., Eagles linebacker Nakobe Dean is a prime free agent target for Dallas. Now, this is a brilliant, multi-layered move if they pull it off. First, it addresses a big need for the Cowboys, who've been looking to get younger and faster at the linebacker spot. But the real genius here is the 2-for-1 impact. You don't just strengthen your own defense with a productive young starting linebacker. You simultaneously weaken your biggest rival by stealing one of theirs. And here's the kicker. Dean has already played for the Cowboys' new defensive coordinator Christian Parker back when he was with the Eagles, which means the learning curve would be almost zero. It's a shrewd, aggressive tactic that checks multiple strategic boxes all at once. So let's put all the pieces together. When you stop looking at these as 3 separate stories, the tender for Bass, the block on Adams, the rumor about Dean, and you start viewing them as a sequence of events, all the random noise just fades away. And what you're left with is a clear, deliberate, and pretty intelligent strategy. This is it. This is the blueprint. These aren't just random headlines. They are the 3 foundational pillars of a single, unified strategy for a comeback. Pillar 1, secure your assets. Lock down your own homegrown talent before you even think about doing anything else. Pillar 2, stabilize your leadership. Protect your coaching staff, protect your schemes from your biggest rivals. And Pillar 3, target your rivals. Once your own house is in order, then you go on the attack and you actively weaken your competition. It's a complete plan built on internal strength, strategic stability, and calculated external aggression. And that right there is the billion-dollar question that's going to define their 2026 season, and probably the next few years. On paper, the blueprint is logical, it's sound. They've identified their problems, and they're making what look like smart, calculated moves to fix them, all while playing chess with their rival. But a blueprint is just a piece of paper. Now they have to go out and actually build the house. So what do you think? Is this strategy the real deal, the plan that finally gets Dallas back to the top? Or is it just more off-season noise? Let us know what you think down in the comments below. Thanks for watching NFL Nexus.